People say Chicago is the area for news and sports, but we've got a lot here, and we're only 30 miles from Chicago, so it's convenient.
We obviously we are the voice of the region, and we got to cover everything in a morning. And we just went from law enforcement to sports. But Al is also very versed in some other topics. So if you got something you want to talk to Al Hamnik about, 219-845-1100. Al, let's start right now. And you wrote a nice article about two Lake Central guys, Kukas and Petrovic, and they both came out of Lake Central. I want to say 1984. I think they played against my little brother. My brother was 1985 at Munster, and he played against both of those guys a number of times. He played, I think, from when he was a freshman or sophomore. And Petrovic and Kukas were the big deal. That was a very good Lake Central time. I think Coach Hamill was the coach. And you wrote an article about them coming back and being very proud about their Northwestern Wildcats, who don't really have a local guy on the team right now, but they are the closest Big Ten team to the Calumet region.
And they're doing so well. Early in the season, I thought maybe they were just, taking advantage of an easy schedule. But I think the win over Indiana the other night, even though Indiana was a little shorthanded, I think that opened a lot of eyes. And the Purdue game will be huge.
The Purdue game is this weekend? Yeah, it's this weekend. Is that Purdue or it's tonight? Is that Northwestern? Do we have is anybody taking the tickets? Who? All right, I should go to that, but it's too late now.
I think the next 3 or 4 home games are sold out.
Right, at Purdue?
Yeah, being media, they could probably put you up in the balcony, hang you from the rafters or something.
Well, actually, we have the floor passes, so I go sit under the basket.
Oh, lucky you.
You want to come with me?
No, I can't hang from the rafters too long.
No, I'm serious. We could sit right on the floor. Who has them? Who is it? I can't hear you. I can't read your lips. But anyways, Al, Northwestern's for real. Why do you say that?
It's like Bo Kukas had said in the column that he deals with data working for the Ford plant, and the data on them all the way up and down the line: 3-point shooting, free throw shooting, rebounding. Very young roster, and they're not going to have guys coming out, turning pro early. I think 2 or 3 seniors on the whole team. So they're going to be around a while. But right now they have a touch of, what this is like. And I think they're so enamored by it and the fact that people are finally talking about them and not just football, not just Northwestern football. They're playing like every game's a tournament game.
219-845-1100. You want to talk to Al? Let's go to Jamie. Jamie, you're on with Al. What's up, buddy?
Hey, sorry to call again right
No,
away,
go ahead.
I was listening to Big Ten last night, and I think one of Northwestern's main players is out with the flu or something tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what? They're pretty deep.
I mean, I think Purdue needs this win anyway. I think Purdue is going to get them anyway, but who knows? If Northwestern is good, and I tell you, Northwestern's going to be the Duke of the Northwest pretty soon. Of the Midwest, I should say.
Hey, what about IU? Are they done?
Yeah, they're done. Those injuries killed them, Jim. I mean, the injuries killed them, plus they were just not playing that great before they two got injured anyway.
I agree. I never felt a good chemistry with Blackman and the rest of his team. And
they have no point guard. They have exactly what – I mean, the last people don't realize how good Yogi was until Yogi's gone, and I didn't realize how good Yogi was until last year. Yogi had a great year last year, and he didn't get credit for it, but he's the reason that IU did as good as they did last year, because whenever they need something, Yogi came through for them.
Did you hear what happened to Yogi?
No, I didn't.
Signed a 10-day contract with the Dallas Mavericks, and he was huge Sunday night in their win over the Spurs. Came off the bench, had like 9 points in 7 minutes. 10-day contract, so maybe he'll stick.
I sure hope so.
Both could use a point guard.
He scored. Brian said he scored 19 against who? For the Spurs. So he's playing for Pop then, right?
No, he's playing for Dallas Mavericks.
I'm sorry, for the Mavericks.
What I don't get is how these players they get into the NBA and then they just don't even get a shot. I just sometimes I don't get that.
Same thing with Etwan. It seemed like it took a little
And
while
then
for him.
Etwan, when he did get a shot, he did pretty good for the Bulls last year.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's
They
just
never
like,
really
yeah,
considered. They never considered him part of their future. You got that fear. All right, man. Thanks a lot. Talk to
I
you.
think Jawan Johnson is back. I think he signed a contract with somebody. Remember, played with Etwan
Did he really?
and Hummel at Purdue. Yeah,
Yeah, kind of. I think he played in Europe for a while too.
yeah. I believe I saw him on the bench over the weekend in one of the NBA games, like a 10-day contract. And these are guys you thought were can't miss.
219-845-1100. I want to cover a couple things. Al wasn't there, but Steve Hanlon or Dave Funk was for the Times, and we were out there also. Miguel Flores brought you guys on Facebook Live also a double overtime thriller last night. It was great to watch on the phone late last night as Munster and Morton gave you an instant classic. Morton was 69-67 win in double overtimes, and I want to just massacre this name, but Shanatine Butler out of Morton, she had 26 points. And I got to tell you, it's still up there. You can go watch it. It really was worth going to see. Now you got the big one tonight. It's a huge night out at Lowell, and we're going to try to bring you all of it tonight. And Ryan, just refresh me. The first game is Gary Westside and – nope, go ahead. What's that? Lake Central EC? All right, so Lake Central EC is at 6, and then Lowell and Gary Westside at 7:30 tonight. And we're looking forward to that. I'll be watching that on the phone just like everybody else, as Lowell has treated us very well in doing that. You know what, Al, there's a couple things to talk about here. This year, I'm going to put it out there right now. Tonight is going to be the best sectional night of basketball for the spring, and well, actually Friday will, but the best sectional is the Lowell girls sectional, and that's going to beat all of the boys sectionals. Part of it is you've got Lake Central, East Chicago Central, and Gary Westside, all very top level contenders. You don't have anything like that materializing on the boys side right now.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
I would.
Crown Point, Maryville, and Valpo are all in the same sectional, aren't
You know
they?
what? I shouldn't say that.
That's
People
gonna be a
keep bringing
killer.
that one up,
That's
and that's
gonna
at the
be a killer.
the Maryville sectional in the boys, in the Lowell sectional in the girls. I still think that it's a better sectional in the Lowell in terms of watching those games. You've got Genesee Bishop, you got Dana Evans, you got a very good Lake Central team. And I got to disagree with that a little bit in terms of the high competitiveness. The boys sectional there has a number of good teams that are very competitive, but these three teams are a little bit cut above their other competition.
I still think those are the three best boys teams in the area. I saw Valpo at Munster Saturday night. Valpo is good.
Oh yeah, Valpo, Maryville, and Crown Point.
Crown Point.
You know what? I saw
Griffith is in
Chesterton.
a different class,
Yeah.
but if they hit free throws, who knows? Maybe they could get pretty far this year. I did not get to see Chesterton, but I don't think they have that great a record, do they?
They don't have that great a record, but they can compete. I saw them play East Chicago, and they're good, man. They're solid. They've lost a number of close games. So you've got 4 teams in that sectional that I think could win it, and Chesterton being one of them. The East Chicago sectional coming up in boys. I mean, you've got East Chicago that is a pretty good team. They got a solid team. And then you got Lowell having their chance at winning that sectional for the very first time. And, they've got a lot of, like Mantis, his kid was, or his grandpa was the Mantis out of East Chicago. So it's not like your normal, like kind of country guy team. They got a real scrapping mentality there. They play more like a North County region team than maybe a Central Indiana team.
Maybe Ryan knows, but did you guys find out why Cousinard did not play last week in that one game?
No, we did not.
We had a writer cover the game, and he said they were playing without, Jermaine Cousinard. He never said why.
We didn't get that
was
either.
Was he sick? Was he suspended?
We don't know the answer.
And I don't think they've played since then.
No.
So, I mean,
they play a lot early, and then they're sparse here in late
but
January.
he did not show up in that game, and I'm wondering what the heck's going on,
219-845-1100. Anything going on in the sports world? Al, before we forget, Academy Awards are coming up here in a very short period. Al, of course, is quite the movie buff. And Alexis and I have been able to see a couple of these as we were able to get out and see Manchester by the Sea, of course. But just last night, we watched a movie called I Am Michael that is also getting a lot of talk about it. And it's about a gay guy who turned straight. And it's a really, I don't know if it's a really good movie or a really bad movie, but it has James Franco. Anything going into the awards, and of course we saw Fences, and then we're thinking of going the one where the African American gals are the astronauts. We're gonna hit that this week,
Based on a true story.
based on a true story. But nothing jumps out as this one's gonna win them all right now. Anything in your mind?
Well, my wife and I are going to go see La La Land Sunday. I promised her. And my mother-in-law went and saw it. Said it's a nice movie, but wasn't overwhelmed by it. I don't particularly care to go see it. It seems like it's a mix of a musical and a fantasy. But, you got to make some concessions. I did see A Dog's Purpose Sunday at AMC, and the place was packed. 11:15 show. Place was packed. More adults than kids. I mean, there were a lot of kids there too. And I'll tell you, everybody that walked out of there, you have your trash bin where you throw your popcorn and your pop containers. There were a lot of people throwing tissues in those containers. It's a great, great movie for families in general, not just kids, but families in general. It's so well written. Dennis Quaid only is in like the last 10 minutes. He's portrayed as a boy in the beginning, and then it goes full circle. And at the end, he's in for the last 10 minutes. A tremendous ending, a very good, feel-good ending. But if you watch that movie, and it flies by, if you watch that movie and you're not dabbing your eye from time to time, you don't have a heart. I was a little upset because Patriot's Day is only playing like once at the local theaters, like 5 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night. I really wanted to see that one. It's not up for any Academy Awards.
I did
but
see
you had
that.
told me it was good, and I figured it would be 5 or 6 showings. And, they stick it way down at night. That didn't make sense to me. I did see Manchester, by the Sea. It was good. We've talked about that one.
I'm looking here also at Hacksaw Ridge, which is
Excellent. Excellent.
And Hell or High Water. I don't know if you remember that one. That one was middle of the year, and that was Bridges and the two bank robbers. And I got to tell you, I'll give a thumbs up to that.
That's a dark horse. That's a dark horse.
That's a dark horse. I can't see that. My guess is that all of the tap dancers and the Academy Awards are going to give it to La La Land just because it's just like so.
Now, Fences was a play on Broadway.
And I didn't.
And they say making it a movie is just it doesn't really jump all over the place. It's almost like being in an audience watching a play. And even though you've got two fantastic actors, I just don't know if I'd be that fired up to put it high on my list of movies to see.
No, I saw that too, and I came out, and Alexis like, "Well, what'd you think?" I go, "If I wanted to go see a play, I would have gone seen a play." And that's all that was. It was all in the backyard of this house. The scenery, I thought it was just, it just wasn't a movie. It was a play, and maybe it would have. It did win a bunch of awards as a play. So there you go. Lion, I did see Lion, and the basically what this story is about is that a kid is really poor in India, and he gets separated from his family. They don't know where. I won't give it away. And he winds up getting adopted in Australia, and then it always, he lives his whole life. And then all of a sudden he goes away to university, and he starts thinking about his mom probably still looking for him. And he goes on this huge search to find her, and it's a really well-done movie. As a matter of fact, out of all these, I'm looking at the 9 Academy Awards for Best Picture, and I'll just read them. La La Land, Arrival, Lion, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, Moonlight, Hacksaw Ridge, Manchester by the Sea, and Fences. Out of all of those, the ones that I've seen 5 of these. Lion's the best movie.
Is Silence up there?
No, it is not. Silence is not.
It looks kind of dark. It's got a good cast. And I'll tell you something. Amy Adams in Arrival. I'm surprised she was not nominated for Best Actress or but Arrival is a good movie. You get a chance. It's not like, Independence Day. It's not one of these horror films, science fiction, explosions every other minute, meteors hurling through the sky. It is really a very thought-provoking, well-done movie.
Science fiction, though, Al.
But it's not really, I wouldn't say it qualifies as science fiction because there's an element of mystery and suspense. The acting is really, really superb. Shows you how the military gets involved with this stuff. And she goes through hell she's a language expert, trying to decipher the language coming from these spheres that are all over the world in various countries, just, isolated in fields, over the water, over cities. And they all looks like an upside down banana or a banana that's just sitting there. And they're trying to make contact with these people in the ships. You talk too much about it, and it sounds like maybe it's a cheesy sci-fi, but it's really a good movie. You get a chance. I know it's on Netflix right now, I believe.
And it's also on Xfinity On Demand.
Yeah. So, you get a chance, pay $4 and see that. You'll love it. I mean, it's probably about 2 hours long, but I enjoyed it. I went and saw it by myself because I didn't think the wife would, be in for that type of genre. And I liked it. I would see it again.
Would she like it?
She probably would. Yeah, I didn't know what it would be about. Now, I would like to see Split.
The man, that's more
25 personalities.
It's a horror flick, though.
Well, it's but I know she would not want to see that, so I may have to see that one, by myself.
There it is, Al Hamnik, looking at movies. Hey, we'll be right back. AM 1230 WJOB. You got anything you want to talk about in sports? Let's hit it.
Italian. That's what you get at Giuseppe's Restaurant in Cherville.
Hi, this is Joe from Giuseppe's Everything Italian. Here today to let our friends and listeners to WJOB know about the few things that we have added. We offer catering now, catering for your party, family event, or even for businesses. Just give us a call at Giuseppe's at 322-0011 and ask for Joe. Thank you.
Giuseppe's Everything Italian is located at 1000 Eagle Ridge Drive in Cherville, just north of the Showplace Theaters, 219-322-0011. Or visit Giuseppe'sPizza.net.
Are you worried about your loved ones at home for home care services? All America Home Health Care is a trusted, state-licensed home health care agency in Munster that provides quality, professional home health care services like registered nurses and therapy service. All America Home Health Care has been in business for 10 years and can be reached at 219-836-3000. All America Home Health Care, 219-836-3000, where service and passion is a commitment.
7:49 in the Calumet region. I'm Jim Dedelow, host of JED in the region. Kuziak's up next. He will be on with, I don't know exactly who he's going to be on. I don't know if Reardon's joining him or not. Kuz is going to be on. And right now, traveling around the city, 294 looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. There's, I told you about that stalled truck on the merge from the Bishop Ford to the Dan Ryan, and that is stopping things up on the Bishop Ford. So watch the Bishop Ford right now. One stalled truck in the left lane has caused all this problem. But if you get past that, the Dan Ryan's not too bad. Up to Jane Byrne. Jane Byrne's bad, 35th on in. Hey, what do you have? Skyway Toll Road, Barman I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue. Those are all moving along pretty well. Traffic brought to you by Napleton, River Oaks, Honda. What do you got in weather? Brought to you by Laborers Local 41. High of 34 today. That's where it sits right now here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. Remember, it's Senior Day, 10% off today if you're over 55 or over. And I will be getting my first taste of Senior Day at Strachan Van Til. And it looks like Alexis will be joining me, and we're going to go both use that. What's that? You're going to troll for what?
For a date.
Oh.
Going to Senior Day to go.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Easy pickings.
Easy pickings. Hey, baby, let's go to Senior Day.
Hey, it is Jeff Decker who's going to be joining us as councilman from Dyer. We'll talk about a little bit about how that affects the train. We're going to talk about what happened in Highland, the vote. Also, I was listening to the chief. I unfortunately had one of my rentals broken into in the middle of the day in Hammond last week. So I want to give some thanks to some of the officers that dealt with that. The detectives are on top of it, and I just hope we can continue to eradicate some of the garbage that's coming in here from Illinois. So those are some of the things we're talking about.
All right, hold on a second, because Al Hamnik came on the air here and took a whole heap of criticism for his acknowledgement of the violence in Illinois, in Chicago, how it's spilling over into Indiana, and how Al asked the question, when is it not safe to go to a sporting event also in Illinois? Al, you got some response from those comments.
I'm still getting references as a fearmonger.
Really, 250? I think I have to correct the chief, because I saw that same thing today.
People are blind to what's going on out there.
It wasn't 233. I think 233 shot was last year. It was 299 shot this January. 251 51 killed, 299 shot, which happens to be both broken records from last year, which was a record. But again, all that was going to be changed, right? Because they have a new superintendent, so all that shooting was going to be done.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's another interior politics issue in Chicago, and Eddie Johnson is not doing the job.
Not doing the job, but
his health is under, they don't even know if he.
Well,
if
where's
he
the
can do
outrage?
it.
There was outrage under Gary McCarthy. So you've had a full year. It was a record year, and now January shows that it's going to be the same thing, if not more than last year. Where's the outrage?
David, all starts with gun control. There's too many guns out there.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the people that want to kill the other people, right? Well, it has nothing to do with the people down the street.
They're the ones that have the guns. They're the ones that have the guns.
Yeah. So anyway, I did go to Manchester by the Sea. Is that what it's called?
Depressed?
Well, and then I went to a wake right afterwards, which so it was a great Sunday, by the way. Really, really surprised at the depth of how that makes you feel. I didn't know, like, just watching the whole, the previews, you didn't think that, and I don't want to give anything away, but like I told some friends, go ahead and see it, but I mean, don't expect to come out and be like, this is the greatest day. It's just, I guess it's based on a true story, right? It was
the house fire. That was kind of like the center point.
Yeah, and I wouldn't give anything away, but that was, oh man, it makes you think. It just makes you think that all the little things that may have happened in your life, that you were lucky that something like that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't want to give it away, but I have 3 fireplaces and other stuff like that, and you just think little things like that can change your life, and you do have control over it, but it's an innocent thing. I mean, when that hit me, I was floored, to be honest with you.
219-845-1100. Coos has a whole bunch coming up here at 8:05. He's got Councilman Decker. Councilman Decker and the rest of the Dyer Council was recently featured in the Times on a big article about the folks wanting to have their say at a study committee meeting.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, about the train, and the train is a big issue, and basically in every community. Hey, Al, let's circle back to the fear-mongering that people gave you criticism about. It's kind of odd that you're coming on right after Chief John Doty was coming in, and they're basically getting cameras here in Hammond so they can track all the criminals going back to Illinois. He's talking about the big number of murders there and about the huge amount of crime in Chicago that is now trying to spill its way over here into Hammond. You bring it up and you get slapped.
Well, if Dave's statistics are correct for this month or for January, that's 10 shootings a day.
The other thing that they said, and I want to get it right, we were watching the same thing this morning. I was flipping through Channel 7 or 9, one of the two, and they had on the statistics. There has been a shooting every single day in Chicago since February of 2013. Think about that.
Yeah.
And for those people who don't want to talk about the truth, you'll never solve the issue until you confront what's going on in front of you. And I don't agree with everything that Donald Trump is doing, but if I lived in Chicago and I lived in the west side or the south side, I would call for the National Guard to come in and basically go house by house, get rid of all the guns, get rid of all the gangs. But I'm going to be selfish. If we do that, then they're all going to come here in Northwest Indiana. So I'd rather him not do that. I'd rather them stay where they're at. Because we've already seen what that element has done to Northwest Indiana.
I think that's what you're going to need. National Guard, and Rahm Emanuel is such a pig-headed individual about, we'll take federal help.
No, he's worried about getting reelected because
we don't
he
want the
can't
National Guard in here.
He can't get reelected without the African American vote, and he feels that would not be right. You talk to so many innocent people on the South Side and the West Side, they want to be able to enjoy their life like everyone else in this country does, where you can sit on the porch, you can sit in your backyard, have a cookout without bullets flying.
See, that was my whole point. Not you and me going to a game, or Jim, going to a Cubs or Sox or Bulls or Bears game or Hawks game, but bringing your family, bringing 4 or 5 kids or 3 or 4 kids, your parents. That was my concern when I went back on this soapbox before, because you're going to the parking lot. A lot of these parking lots are a block from the stadium. It's late. It's dark. You're walking. Your kids are, they like to run off in different directions. Your parents maybe walking way behind you, depending on their age. That was my concern, because you have these idiots driving by, shooting at anybody because there's a grudge or initiation or whatever ridiculous reason there is, and then innocent people getting hit. I would say of all the people that were fatally shot last year, I bet 10% were just innocent bystanders.
Well, it's always, that's what my viewpoint is. Instead of gun control, I think we should give the gangs free target practice so that they actually hit the person that they're aiming for.
Against each other.
Each other, absolutely. I think we should do it like the old Roman days. If they want to fight, let's go. You know what? Let's sell tickets that'll get Illinois out of debt. Let's just have a big coliseum and then just let them duel right in the center. If they're that tough, let's do it like they did in the Western days. Do do a duel.
Hey, let's talk to Dennis on line 1. Dennis, you're on with Al Hamnik. Dave Kuziak sitting in with us on some crosstalk also. What's going on?
Hey, well, I got 3 Catholics in the room there. I wonder if you guys caught Bishop Bying's letter in the Times today. I mean, he continues to be such a inspiring and strong voice for social justice, and we really are fortunate to have such a great bishop, I think, around here these days.
Give us the Reader's Digest version. I did not see it today.
He spoke out against both the recent executive order on the refugees and the idea of building a wall to keep out immigrants to this country, or illegal immigrants to the country. But he circles back all the time in his sayings or in his talks about getting back to really what's Christ's central message, which is love your neighbor. So we're very blessed to have him around here. Such a strong voice for doing what's right out there.
The church will certainly stand with families who could potentially risk the tragedy of suffering division, parents potentially being deported whose children are United States citizens and only have lived in this country. The church stands with political and religious refugees whose forced return to their homelands could result in persecution and or death. The church wants to help those seeking to escape a crushing poverty whose misery most of us can only imagine. All right, man. I didn't see it, but I'll definitely hit on it. Thanks a lot, Dennis.
Yeah, take care, guys.
All right. Well, hey, let's hit this Super Bowl. Does anybody care?
Can I just go back a second?
Sure.
Isn't it sad about St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer?
How did it get to $100 million in debt? How does it get to this point?
You got me, because I went down there my freshman year. Before it was co-ed, there were 5 girls on campus, and they were not the most attractive, but they were the most popular because it was all guys.
Are you saying farm girls aren't attractive?
Back then? I mean, when you wear big overalls to class, Dave, it's kind of not really a turn on.
Some guys think that's sexy, but go ahead.
The Bears had just left because, they were using Rensselaer for a training camp for many, many years. When I went there my freshman year, I-65 wasn't open, so we had to take 231, which took about 3 days from Griffith to, Rensselaer on Route 231. And if you drove at night, you were scared to death you'd hit a cow or a deer or something because there were no lights on 231. But when I saw this, that they allowed themselves, and Bill Mossels, a Bishop Knoll grad, is the associate AD.
Great guy.
You should have him on one day to, how did this happen? Have him discuss how in the heck did this happen?
When you have him on, you can't believe that him and Rick are brothers, by the way.
What do they need? $20 million by
you know what?
June
Don't be
1st?
knocking Mossels. All right, but
They
anyways,
need a ridiculous amount, like $20 million or something.
How did it
by
get to
June
that
1st?
point? Who's been the president of that organization? I mean, or of that campus? Here, if I'm Rick Costello and you're going to Division II at Purdue, I mean, I'm sorry, it's not like you have to go poach their players, but you've got a bunch of Division II players that won't have a place to play next year. That's the first calls I'm making.
St. Joe and Rensselaer
To get all those players and bring some of them back here.
is still a business school. I mean, that's their their business program is pretty good. They've got a really expanded fan base or alumni base, especially in Illinois, and I would think those people would reach forward.
Well, they didn't have a business guy
contribute.
running the school if they're $100 million in debt.
Something is wrong with the way that this thing just was, ignored. This problem was ignored because evidently it was growing and growing and growing. But for that university to close would be such a tragedy.
I think Purdue Northwest takes all those kids.
All right, here we go. St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer is facing a financial crisis. President said the school needs $100 million to continue serving students. Some students say they are nervous about the future. The college has faced financial problems for at least 2 years. They have no plans to close as of now, but that may change. It's my second year here, and it's kind of scary thinking about what to do if your school closes and where you're going, says Tony Raver, who is studying communications at St. Joe's in Rensselaer.
Kevin Bobus' son is there playing football. He's a sophomore this year, so he'd be going into his junior year, I think, on scholarship.
How many people, Al? Around 3,000 maybe, or 2,000? No, not even.
Steve Hanlon did this story a couple of days ago, and altogether in the athletic program, there's less than 100 kids competing, boys and girls, or men and women. So their numbers are down, and some of their programs they've had to eliminate because of cost. But we've got a ton of local kids going there. He mentioned 2 softball players, and one lady from Whiting and another from Hanover Central. A lot of kids that are just average athletes. That's the perfect school for them.
Since Purdue Northwest is going to be Division II, that's a perfect fit for those kids. I'm just saying if they're not going to be able to exist, they'll have a soft landing to be able to come right over here for a group that needs some talent to go into this new.
But will they get
division.
the same kind of financial aid or scholarship?
Well, at Division II, you can offer that.
Yeah, that they do at Rensselaer.
Hey, Jim, one last thing. Al, I mean, off the record, I don't know if we want to say it.
Nobody's listening. Don't worry about it.
Someone's I got some sources that are saying that whole Griffith thing is ready to explode. I mean, is that going to explode before the basketball season's over or not? Are there people holding some of that stuff? I mean, people need to look into some of that. Are they waiting for the basketball season to end before charges come out? But I'm hearing
the latest number I've heard as far as being charged now is up to 5
that are actually sitting on the basketball team.
No, these are just 5 individuals besides the one person. And the breakdown that I was given is possibly 3 other basketball players and 1 football player, maybe. They don't know whether it's football or basketball.
So the question becomes:
players.
Are they holding the charges back because of the basketball season? I'm just throwing it out there. Then here's the other thing: if you are a Griffith administrator or school board member, and you know that this is brewing, so you're actively letting this go on, knowing that there's individuals that may or may not get charged in something. In this day and age, they're asking for Jamal Washington to resign his post, and all the people involved with Haven House and all the people that are against domestic violence. You have this brewing, and no one's saying anything about it in the Griffith administration. I think that needs to be questioned. It needs to be questioned at a very high level.
A couple things to close here, Al. First of all, Denny Chirilla, who was just calling in, his kid is an amazing swimmer, and he broke the sectional swim record in an event as a sophomore. It wasn't even his event. And congratulations there. We got to get a little more swimming coverage. Also, I got a text here I got to tell you about. Ready? Here you go. Good morning, Jim. If you need someone to go to the Purdue Northwestern game tonight, I'm in. It's John Galambos out of Munster, formerly of Griffith. So
yeah, I'm going
Johnny
to that
G
game.
will go. Who's going anyways?
I'm going to that game.
Yeah, Kuziak is representing as the media.
That's right. That's not the first time I've sat at that scores table down there, a media table, and make sure that I give the proper notes to come back. I'll call in with the full report. And for all those Northwestern fans, and I know there's a lot of them that are listening, I don't care who's on your team that's going to play or not play. Purdue is they're going to clean up tonight on Northwestern. Coming back after loss to Nebraska, they are going to serve notice that Northwestern is still the little sister. Just because you beat up on Indiana, I mean, how bad is that? You got the smartest team in the Big Ten playing against the dumbest team in the Big Ten. Northwestern against Indiana. Pure basketball IQ. The dumbest team in the Big Ten is Indiana, and the smartest is Northwestern.
Can
Purdue's
I,
probably number 2.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
We probably should have talked about it a little bit, but Larry Moore at Hammond High. I didn't realize the extent of the violations on the girls' basketball team.
It's almost as bad as Bowman.
Almost. And now Larry's gone. And
How do you let a kid play that's not in your school? I just want anyone from Bowman or Hammond High to call me.
I'm wondering if he was even aware of this because it happened so suddenly.
Well, here's what coaches used to get, and some coaches still do. Every single 6 weeks, they get a report on how their kids are doing in school.
You're supposed to,
And then you go talk to the teachers. If anyone's getting a D or an F, you go talk to the teachers. So if you have a list and you say, I want the report card of everyone that's in the sports programs, and then you go through and you look, where's this guy at? And you go, this guy or girl, oh, they're not in our school. How are they playing on your team?
You know, I don't know. I mean, Bobby Cox has to just be shaking his head down there, Al.
When he comes up for the sportsmanship banquet in a couple of weeks.
When you and I interview
Are those
him
two
every
teams?
year.
Are those two teams going to be invited? They're not in the tournament.
Well, the Hammond girls are still, they're able to play.
Bowman's not in the tournament.
No,
Or
no.
should they be invited to the sportsmanship dinner?
I know the Hammond girls have been able to manage some kind of a team. They probably got some girls out of the hall to play just so they could complete a roster and finish the season.
Jim will go crazy if they don't involve. If the rule is, if you're in sectional play, you get invited to the meal. They're not in sectional play. Are they eligible?
No,
to
they
go to the
won't. They won't be
sportsmanship
able.
dinner?
No postseason honors or any kind of honors.
It's a boys
like that.
thing. It's not a girls thing.
Yeah.
Bowman.
He's talking about Bowman.
Oh.
The thing is, they did wrong. They should suffer, and that means all the way across the board. No postseason awards, no postseason honors. I hope nobody on that team is put on our all-area team.
Now, listen, I'm telling you that the people of Gary were the first ones to call this. If you remember when Bowman was first put together, it was West Side, Wallace, Gary Roosevelt. It was all of their alumni and their sports people that were saying that this is going to lead to exactly what's happened, to recruiting. They're going to take all the talent, take it at one school, and it could lead to some things that are going on. And were they not correct in their assessment?
The sad part is this has been going on for years at Bowman. Like the second year it had its doors open, stuff was happening that we had heard about.
I've been told by
Nobody would
teachers
talk.
there too, I don't want to say who it is, my inside source, that it was all about basketball and they did not care about academics. And then you're supposed to be on a waiting list. Do you remember the one year the one kid left from, there's been several times in the middle of the year they brought someone right on. Remember the kid leaves East Chicago and he ends up going right to Bowman? How is there a waiting list if you take a kid in the middle of your basketball season and bring him in your school?
Dana Evans, Miss Indiana basketball?
She should be, but again, I'm not seeing any kind of publicity up this way. I don't know if you've gotten folders here or
Well, I don't know. Well, should
news
we?
releases online.
Coach is not a marketing guy. He's a basketball
You
guy.
have to be. It's the
Well,
same thing for the
So,
Heisman.
How
should
about
you?
that?
Wait a second.
How about the AD there earning her salary by saying, "Okay, we're going to put out this real nice brochure." Or this
With
new
social media, it's
pamphlet."
free.
I know.
Where's
I
their
know.
social media campaign
You don't
at?
see that.
I don't know as if it's not your and my responsibility also.
No,
here,
it's
Al.
not our responsibility.
I don't know, man.
We report.
in a situation where they don't have the resources or the know-how.
We don't
and you
get
have a
paid
young
to be.
girl.
The problem is
we
if-
don't get paid to be Dana Evans PR people.
Yeah, but the
Well,
problem
that's
is
just my point.
if you don't win sectional, how are you Miss Basketball?
They got to win.
It's just hard. And
Dave,
they're
she's a McDonald's
I understand.
all-star.
She's the best player in the
She's a
state. I'm
McDonald's
just telling you
all-star.
that I'm telling you that typically Mr. or Miss Basketball do not get knocked out in the sectional.
Well, how
I
do you
think
know they're
that-
going to get knocked out in a sectional?
I think that would be a tall order for them. Though the good thing they have going for them is EC and LC are going to beat the
Don't they
crap
play
out of each
Lowell
other.
tonight, Ryan?
Yeah, but
Lowell
then they
could,
play. But
Lowell
then,
could beat them.
but then they play the one thing that if you've looked at what's happened with Dana Evans, all the coaches know now how to defend her. Last year they had a couple other scorers on the team. If the other scorers don't step up and you put 2 or 3 defenders on Dana Evans, she can only do so much.
Yeah, but don't penalize her because she's the only.
I'm not. I think I said she's the
thoroughbred
best
on that
basketball
team.
player that I've seen in
Yeah.
a very, very long time.
She's the only legitimate Division I player in Northwest Indiana, and she's by herself basically on that team. So she's still averaging 26 points a game.
I understand. But you just understand, too, that if you want to get Mr. and Mrs. Basketballs, they get notoriety and publicity by going down and playing state. That's how you get in front of other
You're
people.
way ahead of. By the way, Jermaine Cousinard has the flu. Ryan says,
Okay,
Yeah,
I wish our
that's-
reporter had reported that.
Yeah. So hey, listen, Kuziak, you're already putting EC or LC as the winner of that sectional, and I think you're ahead of yourself.
Well, I mean, since it hasn't happened yet, I guess I am ahead of myself when I'm making the prediction. I've seen all the teams play. I think that East Chicago is the most talented. They should win, but as I was talking with Coach Kundich the other night, just because you're supposed to win, how many teams are supposed to win sectional? That doesn't mean anything.
All right, let me get a couple other things. We have two really good games on your phone tonight, and that is Lowell and Westside. Miguel Flores on the call there. And then Ryan Walsh is doing the ECLC game. You can watch him on your phone on Facebook Live. And we'd love to have you go down there, and there should be a lot of people at the game tonight.
I think that'll be a very nice crowd tonight. Very good sectional. See, I can guarantee you one thing about all four of those teams playing tonight. They play hard. It's going to be some good basketball, and both teams are going to get beat up, and they're going to have to play someone on Friday.
They can bounce back for that. And also, I won't be here Friday, folks. Dan McNeil's going to take my spot on Friday morning. He's going to do a lot of Super Bowl talk, and he's going to be able to do other things.
Dangerous Dan
is going to fill in for me, and then I am going to be doing NWI Live on Friday with Bob Heiss of the Times. So I'll be doing that online, and Dan McNeil will take it over for 2 hours on me. Al, anything else?
Northwestern by 4 over Purdue.
Get out of here. You gotta go.
I will bet you a coffee.
You really think Northwestern's going to win this game tonight?
By 4.
I'll take it even up
By
for
4.
that cup of coffee, all right?
Okay.
There it is.
You're on.
Al Hamnik
I'll
just
make it
got
a
me
large.
pissed.
I'll make it a large.
I can't believe you could come in. Look at all the stuff here. It's black and gold in the whole building, and you're saying Northwestern's going to – do you see any purple and white?
You're just afraid you're going to lose your lease if you
I'll bet you a
go against
latte.
Purdue.
I'll bet you a latte.
No, Kuziak, do you see any purple and white around here? It's all black and gold. He comes in.
We
here.
went to the fundraisers last weekend for Purdue, and it is what it is. Purdue's going to win tonight, and Al will 2 coffees next Wednesday. Al, I'd like
right.
mine with
Okay, you want to be part of it?
2 cream and 1 Splenda.
And if I win, a McDonald's gift certificate for $10.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
So I'm getting $1.69 coffee, and you're getting $10
Because it's going to be a
What is
tremendous,
this guy?
tremendous upset. Oh, I'll throw in a breakfast sandwich to both of you.
Hey, that's old school.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you. Bye.
Bootleg Liquors has the very best